All right. Hey, hey. Hi, guys. Let's go ahead and jump on into a singles storyline. And we shall see where this one takes us. Actually, I think I want to swap out decks here. So we assume that our character is single. And this may have love story in it. This may not. We shall see. And we leave it kind of wide open to see what's going on with our character's energy. We start out with, first off, the root chakra, and it's 8 of Swords sideways. So at this foundational level, we have a character who's either halfway like releasing themselves from some kind of, I'll say, mindset, but not completely. Like they're still aware that this is something. It almost feels like maybe a feminine who's working on like recreating herself from the ground up. Like, I'm going to rebuild myself. Hi, everyone. So nice to see you all. Just so you guys know, we're still struggling right now with some internet stuff, or rather some upload issues. And so I'm going to be keeping videos pretty short in the hopes that I think we're getting better, but I'm still still struggling. So just so you guys know, I like to do longer videos, but I'm not going to be able to for a little bit until we get this all smoothed out. And some videos you guys will notice have disappeared. I had to take them down because they're not processing still after 3 days. So we've got a 9 of Cups upright. That 9 of Cups is, she's definitely finding her happiness in this. This is awesome. This is the house of emotion and sensuality. This is that sacral chakra showing up. Okay, this is terrific. So we have a divine feminine that is getting happier by the day. Now, of course, I don't really read for genders, but we're going to say someone's divine feminine energy is healing. Okay, this could still be masculine, but they're healing that energy within them. We have the Magician. So we got some strong Virgo, Gemini energy, and again, with that sacral chakra. As it pertains to particularly relationships, we don't usually see 2 people on a Magician card, but we do in this deck. So I'm going to say this is like, as it pertains to, interactions, relationships with 2 people, we can see that's a place of healing. Maybe she, for a period of time, like, didn't believe she could manifest good interactions or good connections. Sometimes if we have just disappointment after disappointment, or worse, find ourselves, dating the wrong person again and again, or attracting the same, users and takers, it can feel like, okay, how do I change this? Okay, let me look at what I need to change. First off, let me break that belief system that that's all I'm ever going to attract. Let me break whatever belief system that that's what I'm worth. And let me start believing that I can attract kinder, happier interactions. Let me remind myself I'm in control of who I give my time to. Look, the way I always describe this is, if it's a cold winter's night and you build a little fire in the forest, who is going to come to the fire? Probably everything. The scary creatures, the sweet creatures, all the things want to be around light and warmth, right? Or let's say an oasis in the middle of a desert. Who's going to come to drink from that watering hole? All the animals, the scary ones, the crocodiles, the ferocious lions, all those, and then also the cuter, fuzzier, more gentle creatures. The thing is, if she is this source of, light, or this source of cool drink of water, the trick is to realize you'll always attract some that you want and some that you don't want. Some of the beasts you don't want, some of the beasts you do. So it becomes, oh, it doesn't have to feel like an insult or like, wow, how come I always attract the wrong ones? It's like, pay closer attention, you'll realize you're probably attracting the right ones too. But it doesn't mean you'll ever stop attracting the wrong ones. They want your light. You're something special. So, to roll with that and know that might be part of what's helping her to rebuild herself a little bit, because she's breaking through a thought process that it has everything to do with, yes, I am allowed to be happy. Yes, I can manifest good connections in my life. And I think that's the way she's doing it, by recognizing, just because I can manifest good doesn't mean that I won't still attract the wrong ones, the ones that I don't want. But I don't have to say yes just because they're trying to offer me a wand that I don't want. You notice, now this could be a wand that she does want, but she's got to make the decision. And it's like, I manifest, I want good interactions. That doesn't mean I'll always get only good. I have to then use my amazing, discernment to determine, do I want to receive what somebody just showed up to offer me? Do I want this wand? Yes or no? 7 of Wands. Right now, she might be saying, I don't know that I actually want anybody at the moment. Not really. I'm practicing, this is her crown chakra opening up. I'm practicing learning about discernment. I'm practicing exercising, like just kind of getting comfortable again. This feels like somebody who has not been in the dating world in a while for a very good reason, hasn't wanted to be in the dating world for a very good reason. She needed to kind of like I said, break a thought pattern, reclaim some power, reclaim some like positive mindset. And now she's kind of like test driving it a little bit. She doesn't really say that she's feeling ready for a relationship, or maybe we should say she's determined she's not going to say yes to anything that is offered to her until she's sure it's what she would really want. So we just say it's like she's got a okay, so I've been making cider and now I'm moving on to making pear cider, and then I'll do some more apple cider pretty soon. But when you do that, you juicing stuff down, and then you got to strain it a little bit, because there's a lot of pulp that gets through. And I'm picturing, that's probably why my brain went here, because I'm picturing somebody who's got like, either they're using cheesecloth or they're using some kind of straining mechanism, or, just like the screens that we use to keep flies out of our house. I'm just saying that her higher self right now is saying, put up a screen, darling. You don't have to let people in. Even if you're saying, I'd like to manifest meeting better people, I'm starting to meet people, starting to interact. That doesn't mean that you have to be ready to let any old person in. Remember, you're practicing the art of screening, the art of discernment, the art of putting up some mesh and seeing what you'll allow to filter in. And right now she may have a very, very fine mesh filter over who she allows in, and that's okay. That is a blockage. Maybe her mesh is so fine right now and her discernment is so intense that she's really not letting anybody get to her heart, or she's not giving anybody her phone number right now, or she's not really wanting to flirt exactly. Even if she meets people that are nice, she's like, yes, but I'm still blank face. I'm not giving them the signal that, hey, let's start talking, let's start flirting, I'm single. She may not be ready to do that. With this third eye, we can see that with the Six of Wands on this, she is aware that she doesn't trust her intuition yet. How do I know which one's a good one and which one isn't? How do I know for sure? Like, I want to feel really confident in my discernment, and you got to practice that. She's turning back on her intuition. She's turning back on her belief in herself. She's turning back on her like permission to try things out, to get to know people and exercise her intuition. Because I think this is a feminine who thought her intuition was broken, who thought her picker was broken, who thought, all of this just wasn't working very well for her. And we see her, changing that mindset. We have a Queen of Cups upright. Again, strong intuition. This is her heart. She's like, I know I am a loving person. Okay, I totally embrace that. I have so much love to give. I'm not greedy. I'm not selfish. I'm not a game player. I recognize that my heart is my greatest gift. And intuitively, I know I want to give my heart to somebody. And that might have been why sometimes people who basically told me that they wanted me to give to them, I ended up doing that because that's what I'm built to do. But the one thing I forgot is, just because somebody comes up and they say they want something from me doesn't mean they're entitled to it, doesn't mean they're deserving of it. So that's what I'm learning to practice. I don't have to doubt my worth. I don't have to doubt what I have to offer. I just had to learn how to practice. I kind of feel like this is probably a very empathic, very emotionally competent individual who she in herself is very whole. But I do think she's very compassionate, very empathetic. And I wonder if she'd met people in the past who really knew how to like play her like a fiddle when it came to that, basically giving her their sob story, making her feel like she needed to, she was obligated even, or was a meanie if she didn't give them her heart and full access into her caring. I'm guessing she probably had, relationships in the past that might have manipulated to get this kind of attention from her. And that's the thing that she's reclaiming that and saying, no, this is a strength. I do have a lot to give. The only thing I needed to do was get wiser. Basically, you know what? Everyone's fallen for a scam at some point, right? We've all fallen for a scam somewhere. Yes. Whether it's like somebody who tells you that, oh, I can do this for you, I can do this job for you, this is how much it's going to cost. And then you prepay and they never come back and they never do the job. Like, been there. Been there. I'm talking about a friend, of course. She also happens to be 6 feet tall, and her name is Kate. But been there, done that, right? We've all been played before. That's all this is. Once in a while, that happens. But then you learn to maybe conduct business a little differently, and then you chalk it up to experience. I feel like that's what she's doing now. She's starting to feel much more excited. Like, you're right, it is just an experience. I learned something out of that. That song "Float On" by Modest Mouse comes to mind right now. It's all about like mistakes and fumbles in life, but then we still float on, and it's going to be all right. Life is a big giant classroom, and we definitely learn lessons sometimes, but that doesn't make us stupid, and it doesn't make us embarrassing, and it doesn't mean that we don't have good intuition. It doesn't mean that we're broken. It just means sometimes we encountered stuff we didn't know about until we encountered it, dealt with it, sometimes got swindled, and then we learn from that, and it makes us wiser. Hopefully not harder or bitter, but rather just like, okay, what do I take away from this? How do I conduct myself in the future? That's where she's at with this hanged man or hanged woman in this deck. Again, third eye chakra. She's like, I'm back, baby. My intuition's spot on. Actually, I realized that's all I had to do was flip around how I was seeing this. I don't have to be afraid of my gifts. I don't have to be afraid of what if I give my heart to the wrong person again. I'm powerful. I have a beautiful heart to share. That's a gift for somebody that I'm going to choose to bestow it upon. I'm going to give somebody all that love, and I can't wait to meet the person that I think is the right one for that. That's actually something that I can look forward to doing, and I can use my intuition, and I can use my discernment, and I can set up a series of like checks and balances, and I can maybe move slower and get to know somebody before imagining that it is my duty to just hand my heart over. And I'm going to say this. I'm wondering if one of those red flags for her is that if somebody tries to manipulate and immediately convince her that she should be giving them a bunch of her energy and attention right out of the gate, or feeling like they are trying to demand it, or they're feeling entitled to it, that might be a really great screening and discernment level for her. Remember, we got that 7 of Wands. Just because somebody gives her something does not mean she has to reciprocate. She gets to decide. If somebody chooses to come in and like say that they want to treat her nice, and they want to give her this, and they want to, because this could be in the past, she might have had somebody that did the, kind of like love bombing. Just because somebody wants to love bomb does not mean you have to reciprocate. They can give and give and give and keep trying to insist that, see how much I gave to you. Now you're supposed to give to me. That's not how it works. She doesn't have to get manipulated by love bombing. And I'm wondering if that was another big lesson for her. Somebody gives you something, and then it's like, great, now I feel obligated to return this to them. Nope. Do not have to. They can lay everything at her doorstep, and she's like, look, I didn't request this. I'm not sure I want to accept this. Or I can say thank you, but that's not where I'm at. Thank you, but I'm still not interested. She's allowed to do that. And I'm wondering if that's the energy breakthrough for her. That's maybe the biggest energy breakthrough. The other thing I like about this is we go from root chakra, where we can see that she's revamping herself. Then we move right up, and now we're into the sacral chakra. She's got a big old hit from the crown chakra, and then we bring it right back into that space of intuition for that third eye. I said at the beginning, it's like she's rebuilding herself, and we almost went in order of some of the chakras. Obviously we missed a few, but it feels like that's exactly the way to describe this. I think she's about ready. So let me put it this way. Do we have, let's ask the universe. Universe, what does she have coming toward her next, or what is she attracting toward her now? We've got the Death card. We've got the High Priestess. The universe is like, oh, she's attracting the likes of which she has never encountered before. She is attracting and recognizing, and talk about like being all queued up for her intuition now with that High Priestess and that Death card. That there's this book that says nevermore. The universe is like, she'll never have to repeat those same old relationship fumbles, or those same old, connections that she doesn't want anymore. She doesn't have to do that anymore. Everything is shifted and changed for her. Strong Scorpio, strong Virgo, also Cancer and Pisces here. But the universe is like, she's attracting the likes of which she has never experienced before. The World card. Everything, this is her new beginning. Does it mean she'll never have any mistakes again? No, of course not. But she won't have the same wrong, connections, because I think she built, or like I said before, she learned the lessons after being swindled, much like that friend I was talking about, me, who learned how not to get swindled in certain business transactions as well. With that world card upright, this is like she handles herself different, therefore her outcome is different. And we have the Chariot. I gotta say, I wonder if in the past she would be made to feel like runner chaser dynamics, like somebody would give it to her, then she started to give it to them, and then they'd withdraw so that she'd be on the hook and be chasing them. That's not the case anymore. She can see very clearly, and I think this is an important note on this. She can look back at her past and say, I'm able to move on from the past and do things so differently because I can see how somebody created runner chaser dynamics with me, and I got hooked on that. I got hooked on them. Now I can see them as fleeing, and I have no need to chase, and I can actually see that was their insecurity needing to get me on the hook. I can move forward and move beyond my past because I can see that now. So I don't think anybody who plays that love bombing game, get you hooked on me, then withdraw from you and hope that you chase me around and make me feel special, I don't see that dynamic ever happening for her again, because she looks at it so differently now. She sees it as it is. She's like, actually, they needed my attention and energy. I was the person who made them feel special. I get it now. Okay, so that means I actually have the power. That means they actually wanted my energy for a reason, because I needed to make them feel special. I wasn't this puny, pathetic thing. They actually felt small, and having me want them, be attracted to them, hunger for them, made them feel big. Okay, totally changes dynamics. You notice how this person's shrunken down and she's like the 50-foot tall woman? That's the breakthrough on this. 9 of Cups, Knight of Swords. I do feel like she may still choose to be single for a little chunk of time, but then we see her possibly having a couple people that come toward her with this Knight of Swords. There could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, and I hate to say it, but it could be that person from the past who bounces back in, because it says autumn of youth, and I'm wondering if somebody from her past bounces back in, but she sees them differently. That could explain why we have that Chariot there, and looking at it as a diminutive size versus the big lesson that she's learned. This just feels like they pop in one last time. It doesn't matter. She's attracting a true 2 of Cups. This is somebody totally different. This is not somebody who's still very immature. This card literally says autumn of youth, so we know it was somebody immature. This is like, no. By October, by possibly, they're both dressed up as witches and wizards, so I'm wondering if it's Halloween. By Halloween, she could be meeting somebody that's like a true, like, leveled up energy flow of somebody she really wants to be with. That is beautiful. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Forgive me if I don't bounce out of this video right now. It's going to get too long and we're going to fall into the same problem of processing. Love you guys. I'll do a slightly shorter one later so I can say hi to everybody. Please don't think I'm being rude. I'm just trying to work with the parameters that I'm dealing with right now behind the scenes. Guys, lots of love. Thank you for popping in, you guys. Have a beautiful afternoon. I'll see you some more for some zodiacs. Bye.